All right, Tyler, let's go.
All right, everybody, Coach Babers has joined us. We'll start right off the bat with Christian DeGuzma from News Magician.
Hey, Coach. I asked you on Saturday what your thoughts were on the offensive line. You said you wanted to rewatch the tape after you've done that now. What do you think may have contributed to some of their struggles on Friday against Louisville?
Well, I think, first of all, I thought they played a lot better than what some people believe. But, we had some issues with some pass protection situations. But that's just individuals getting into one-on-one battles that, they're not going to win all of them. But I thought for the most part, it wasn't maybe not as bad as everyone thinks it was. And I thought they did an okay job. We were decent.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Christian. Next, we'll go to Matt Hausworth.
Into hospice care. I guess tell me what he's meant to you since becoming the head coach here at Syracuse University, and is there a moment that stands out to you between you and him that you'll remember forever?
There was a situation where I got invited to the dinner last spring with him and Coughlin and Larry Zonka, and first of all, to be in that company and to not be the limelight, so to speak, to be the fly on the wall and to listen to those three go at each other, two 44s and one heck of a football player and a football coach and general manager. It was really, really special, and Floyd's always been like the bridge for me to the past of Syracuse. And without him, he's opened doors for me, not only with the things that he's done, but with the legacy that's going to continue on. Some of this stuff is tough. You're hitting me this question early, but he's a special guy. My daughters don't even call him Floyd; they call him Uncle Floyd. And one of them just turned 28 on Saturday, and that's what they call him. They met him as Mr. Little, and before they knew it, they were calling him Uncle Floyd, and that's the only way they address him. So. I got to share this with you. I had one of my daughters actually lives in Phoenix now, and that's where Floyd was there for some treatments before he went into hospice, and he lives in Nevada. And the girls were able to get a little care package over to him to lift his spirits in Phoenix when he was on that road trip trying to battle that thing. And once again, it was just something that our family, that we wanted to show how much we really appreciate him and how much he's made a difference in our lives. So that's about enough right now. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we'll go to Mark Larson.
Good morning. Just want to talk to you about the goals in the final two games. Obviously, of course, you'd like to win, but how much of the next two games is maybe guys auditioning for next year, next spring?
Well, I think we start, Mark, exactly with what you said. We're trying to win the football game, and as people can tell, the football can be a dangerous game if people don't know exactly what they're doing. So not only do we want to evaluate people, but we want to put people in their best opportunity to be successful when they're out there and be able to protect themselves. So there's a little bit of all that stuff going on. I can't give you a number on it, but we're going to go out there and try to win the football game, and then we're going to try to get looks on as many people as we can based off of the things that have gone on this season to give us a jump start into being hopefully a lot better in 2021.
Thanks, Mark. Next, we'll go to Nico Tamurian.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate the time. And looking ahead to Saturday's game, home finale, feels like the season's kind of flown by and whatnot. Is there, I'm sure there is, but I guess what is the appreciation as far as, a few months ago we didn't know if we'd be playing football. We didn't know what we'd be doing. And obviously the season hasn't gone the way you or many would hope, but there's this idea that you're still playing and there's one more game at the Dome. What is the appreciation level that these guys can lace them up and they can still get out there Saturday?
Nico, I think there's something else that needs to be said. These guys have done a fantastic job. You look around the country and there's people who are skipping games because of this and skipping games because of that. And I can still remember numerous articles when this all started that there's no way that, why are you doing this? The ACC is everybody else is right and the ACC is wrong, and there's no way you can get through this. But, you know, again, my hat goes off to Kent Siverud and John Wildhack and the players on this football team and the part of the Ohana that's been able to do this so far. We're 9 games in with an opportunity to go for 10 and 11. And based off everything that's going on, they really have come together and done an amazing job. That was their first job to do, okay? Now, we didn't have the W's and L's that we wanted, and I get that. But I think that when you look at the people who have played and what they've sacrificed and putting all that in a basket and hopefully being able to come back in 2021 and have one hell of a picnic on it, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, don't lose the faith, because if you lose your faith, you have nothing. And I really believe that this is going to all work out into a positive.
Appreciate that, Coach. I think you're one of 3 or 4 ACC teams that have played all your games, so credit there.
That is not correct. We are one of 2 ACC teams.
One of 2, okay.
Okay, the other one being Boston College. Not that details are important, and I would know something like that. But thank you very much, Nico.
I love it. Thank you.
Okay.
Next we go to Darius Joshua.
How you doing, Coach? 2 questions for you. One kind of on the young side. How is Jacobian Morgan, or how much do you know about him and his availability for this Saturday?
You're starting to sound like Steven. You know, really don't know yet. Again, we really push this stuff. I'm not making this up. We really push it back to as late on Monday as possible, because, you know, the longer time they get to heal, the better the diagnosis is. So, and plus our doctors are not on here 24/7. They have day jobs where they have to take care of other people, and then they come in after hours to see our guys. So I really won't know until the very end of this day, until starting into tomorrow.
Well, then kind of on the other side of that, on the older side, you started a tradition with your seniors doing a walk around the dome. Obviously no fans inside there this season. Is there a plan for the seniors to kind of give them a moment, knowing that, one, they could still come back, but also to try to give them that kind of that moment inside the dome potentially?
Darius, okay, now I will give you this. Yesterday we took team pictures. Okay, yesterday we took team pictures in the dome because we've been waiting and waiting and waiting to find out if we were going to have, you know, there was a lot of things that we were waiting on, and we finally figured out that we need to take this team picture before the season's over. We're not going to have the senior walk, okay? We won't have a situation where we're going to be able to introduce the seniors before the game as we traditionally do, because their moms and their dads and their loved ones aren't going to be there, and more importantly, the fans aren't going to be there. I hadn't thought about bringing them back for a dual senior year. I hope that's what you just said, because that's a hell of an idea by you. And that might be something that I seriously consider, because I think the senior walk is something that's really, really special. But we did take the team picture yesterday. It was their options to have mask up or mask down on the team picture, and I went mask up, because it'll be hopefully the only picture I take since I've started playing this game back in 60-something that I'll have a mask on.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Darius. Next we go to Josh St. Croix.
Hi, Coach. Just wanted to ask you about Kingsley Jonathan. Last week he was named a semifinalist for the Jason Witten Man of the Year Award. Just wondering what he means to your locker room, and just what it means for the program, you know, have a guy like that setting the example. You know,
first of all, Kingsley is the bomb, okay? As my daughters say, Dad, stop trying to get us married off to guys. You know, I see Kingsley, I'm like, hey, you know, I got 2 daughters. You know, I got 2 daughters left. He's one of those guys that he's going to be successful, you know. We would love for him to come back, but I guarantee you he's got 2 or 3 job offers already. He is a quiet leader that when he speaks, he's E.F. Hutton. And as a coach, you would love for him to speak more. But when he does, it's like, you know, it's deep. It's let my people go type speeches, you know. Everyone is absolutely listening. So I don't know what else to say positive about the guy, except that he is when he talked about the things that he does off the football field and the way he carries himself, he is not average. He is absolutely consistently good or better.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Josh. Next, we'll go to Stephen Bailey.
Hey, Dino, I wanted to zoom out for a second and ask you about your offense. Obviously, when you got here, you had an idea of how things were going to work and what it took for it to succeed at this level. 5 years later, I know you've gotten a lot of injuries and those things, but that aside, looking at the challenge in the ACC and how the game has developed in the last 5 years, like, do you still view this offense as capable of succeeding? And what changes, if any, might you look at to adapt it in the offseason?
You know, you're always looking to be green and growing, not red and rotten. So we're going to always look to adapt and change. But when you look around college football, you know, you look at what Oregon's doing, and their offensive coordinator came from, I believe, Mississippi State, who came from Penn State, who Sports Illustrated article stated that he copied everything that we did from Eastern Illinois University in 2012. You look at what Tulsa's been able to do running the exact same offense. I think Young Briles is at Arkansas, and they're shaking up the SEC for the very first time, not including the other son-in-law of Mr. Briles being at Ole Miss as the offensive coordinator and the job that they've been doing. When you look around, this offense is still around the country, and it's still doing fantastic things. I think there comes a point when you do have to adapt and improvise based off of your situation in your conference. So I think you're absolutely right on that. And I think that, like any good teacher, okay, and a teacher and a coach is the same thing, is that you need to go back and you need to study your game plan and make sure that you're doing everything that is not only cutting edge, but is giving your students the best opportunity to be successful.
Just to follow up on that quickly, without any real expectation for what this offseason is going to look like, you don't know if you'll have winter workouts, spring ball isn't guaranteed. Like, how? I know you're dealing with the season right now, but how hard is it, I guess, to try and imagine what you can be in 2021 without knowing if you might have another offseason like the one you did last year?
It's for us to be different in 2021, we need to have a different offseason. There is no doubt about it. And hopefully, you know, as with the pandemic and what's going on with the cures, and hopefully December 11th, something will be out by March or April. The normal people maybe get an opportunity to get a shot because we're not frontline, I forgot, what's the word? Responders. We're not frontline responders. Hopefully the cure will be out for everybody else in the middle, late spring and all that kind of stuff, and we'll have an opportunity to have something normal. But I think we definitely need a normal spring. It would be to our best interest.
I appreciate it, and thanks to Darius for asking about Jacobian.
Darius, once again, everyone's calling your name. Thanks, Darius.
Thanks, Stephen. Next, we'll go to Nate Mink.
Forgot about Sean over at Kent State putting up 69 the other night on Akron.
I said people outside the family. He's inside the family. The other ones are cousins. He's blood.
Sure. I wanted to follow up on Darius's question, actually. Another Darius shout out. Wondering as it relates to Saturday's game, did program or a liaison to the program explore the possibility of seeking permission to get the parents of seniors into the game on Saturday, knowing that it might be their last time watching them in person?
You know, Nate, I would love for the media, I would love for you guys to take that all the way up to Albany, and I would love to see parents have an opportunity to play these guys in their last. If they just brought the parents in and let them spread out in the dome, just the parents. I mean, it's such a. Those young men are giving up so much, and they get the opportunities to come back, but they're giving up so much, and their parents are giving up so much to allow them to do this for us and for everyone. It's just a shame that they don't get to watch them at least one time. So, you know, that's how I feel about it. I can't. It's way, way above my pay grade, way, way above my head. But I know this. You talk about things being fair and not fair, and that's not fair. That's not fair that they don't get a chance to see them in this game.
Do you know if that ask was made?
I do not. I do not know if the ask was made. Let's,
Tied to that.
let's start a movement, though.
We got 4 days. And maybe if numbers were what they were a month ago, maybe we'd have better luck, but I don't know about now.
Yeah, I don't know about now either.
I know you're not in probably the business of disclosing names, but do you have an idea on how many might be playing their last game at the Dome on Saturday?
You know, that's family stuff. I'm not going to get into that stuff at all, but I'll tell you what a senior year, okay? To say that you had a senior year in a pandemic and it's never been done before, regardless of record, it's a very, very unselfish act by them, and I really do appreciate them.
Thanks, Nate. Next we go to John Kikis. John, you're still muted. There you go.
How about now? Good. Coach, the other night you said after the game that keeping a positive attitude was foremost on your mind. Is that going to be hard, easy? Just keep things the same, just be Dino?
It's going to be very hard. It is a test. Just like the crucible is a test of wills, it's a test. And it's testing my faith, and I plan on winning the test by staying positive, knowing that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, that this is not all for naught.
Do you feel like the players are with you right now?
I would like to think they are.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Next we go to Adam Hillman from the Daily Orange.
Hey, Coach. So last week you talked about how you kind of look at this year almost with an asterisk. Kind of following on previous questions about the seniors, how do you think they're looking at this year? Do you think they're looking at it similarly? And what do you think, that saying that kind of sense to them? How are they looking at this season?
I don't know. I really don't. There's something that you need to ask them. It's a freebie. I mean, they get to come back and play again, So, and I'm not sure how they look at it. But I know from an academic standpoint, them having the opportunity to get an extra year in school, or maybe to complete a major or complete a certificate of degree or go for a master's degree, from a financial standpoint, it could be very worthwhile for them, but I do not know how they look at it. And understanding, when I say asterisk, I understand that the wins count and the losses definitely count, but the point I'm trying to make is that this was not normal, and that, some of us are getting an opportunity to do it again.
Thanks, Adam. Next we go to Jerron May.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time. Looking ahead, what are some of your thoughts on your class of 2021 recruiting class and how they can have an impact and hopefully be able to help this team next season?
Hopefully we'll have a normal two-a-days, a normal one-a-days, it's too old, normal one-a-days in the fall, and that'll help the 2021 class coming in. But, you never know, just like Sean Tucker and Hannah, and there's always guys, even Jacobian, there's always guys that you don't we'll see, and then they come out and they do something that's really eye-opening, and they get an opportunity to play early, like Zaire Franklin, Kendall Coleman, Taj as a freshman, Eric Dungy as a freshman. There's always somebody that comes out and surprises you. So hopefully you get them all in, and you don't lose any at the end, and nobody comes and steals any of those guys, and you get them in here and you throw them in the basket and wash them off and see what they turn into. Now, they'll be a little bit different than this previous class because they won't get 6 years. They'll be back down to 5 with a red shirt and 4 years of eligibility. So that'll be the biggest difference between 2020 and 2021.
Next we go to Dan Tortora.
Hey, Coach, kind of keeping with recruiting on that front, we've seen the Servassier Dennises as well as the Stevie Scotts be very successful outside of Syracuse. Is there going to be an emphasis on recruiting local, central, and upstate New York as you move forward, especially in a year where, we've had issues with coronavirus and different states having different rules? We've always had an emphasis. I mean, we had Stevie over here. The one thing I appreciate about Stevie is he looked us dead in the eye and said, hey, I would do better outside of this city, that I need to go away. And we respected that. So
we always want to start close to home. I mean, I still remember Gabe Horan, and some people had mixed feelings on him, and like, no, he's in state, we're going to go on him. And we thought we had a jewel until, you know, he had his physical injuries. So we're going to always stay close. We're going to always look for a guy. If you don't think we're on the right one, give me a call, okay? Because local is good to us, and state of New York is good to us, and we don't want to miss on one single guy. Anytime we miss on a guy in state, it hurts me deeply.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Dan. Next, we go to Danny Emmerman.
Hey, Dino. So last week you mentioned 1 year when you were an assistant at Purdue as kind of the only year in your coaching career that's kind of similar record-wise to this one. Is there anything you learned from that year that you've tried to apply to this season?
No. That year I was, my God, how old are you?
21.
Oh, my God. I was about 10 years older than you. You're just a baby. I was about 10 years older than you, and, you know, I thought I had the whole world by the tail, and I couldn't, my whole thoughts was, I shut down, and outside of coaching my guys, I just literally stopped talking. A little bit different role as an assistant coach, as a head coach, while we're sitting here having this conversation we're having today. You know, you really have to reflect, and you really have to be grounded in base with something to hold on to, because it's extremely, extremely difficult. You know, I was shedding, I told the team I was shedding tears this weekend over a lot of things. You know, obviously the Floyd thing and some other things as well. And you have to keep things in perspective, and you have to understand what's important, but what's really, really important to you. And the most important thing is keeping these guys safe, okay? And after that, the next thing is making sure they have the best experience possible, even though it's a pandemic year. And then we want them to not only graduate, but we want them to be able to go in the community and have a fantastic job and have a fantastic career. And if they feel like they had a good experience here, maybe even give back to the university. So there's a lot of things that you look at as a head coach, that when you're sitting there at 31 years of age or 32 years of age and you're only worried about your position, your thoughts are a lot younger and a lot different than someone that's sitting up here as long in the tooth as I am right now.
You mentioned the most important thing is keeping, you know, the guys safe. With how many injuries you've had this year and all the freshmen who you've said are, you know, physically maybe not as ready, is there any part of you that thinks it's not safe to be sending the team out there?
When I say the word safe, I'm talking in particular about COVID-19, the virus, and the job that we've done in keeping our guys clear of that. And that's what I'm really, really proud of. You know, we all play this game. I've played this game, and it's a fair, safe game. And if you do the things that you need to do, not only will the game take care of you, but you'll take care of the game. And there's some injuries, but, you know, I'm an older guy, and I can still get around. I'll take you out on the basketball court. I'll show you something that you haven't seen before. And when I throw that sky hook on you, you're going to have to Google that doggone thing because you probably haven't seen one in a while. But it'll still go through the net. It's those things that I think that when we talk about keeping the guys safe is what's really important to me. They understand that this is a physical game, and that's why we all love it. That's why you guys love it. But that all comes with what we do. And I'm thinking back, I'm almost done here. I'm trying to think back. We've got a bunch of injuries, and I'm thinking back to if any of the injuries were career-ending. And right now, my response out of all the injuries we have is no. Either everybody's coming back or they're already back, which is a blessing.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome, sir.
Thanks, Danny. Last question we have time for is we're going to Jacob Payne.
Hey, Coach, this is going to sound like a similar question, but I'm also curious. You've had 3 quarterbacks forced out of games this season due to injury. And while they might not be career-ending, at least one was season-ending. What kind of discussion is there surrounding young quarterbacks with freshman bodies like Jacobian and Dillon and the protection that might not be suitable to keep them healthy?
Well, again, I think when you go back and you look at the plays, out of the 3 plays that happened with quarterbacks, 2 the quarterbacks could have prevented themselves, and only 1 was a physical play on someone else. And I'm not going to get into which one was which. But the thing is, it has to do with the experience. The older you get, and with the plays and all the things that are going on, quarterbacks are protected more than any other position on the football field. And if they're really well taught and they have the experience, it's very, very difficult to get one out of a game. If you go back and check all the quarterbacks that have started this year on the teams that we've played, and how many are still playing right now, still starting without injury. And the first thing everybody else will say is, oh, it's the offensive line. It has to do with the experience. When you really, really know what you're doing and you really feel comfortable in what you're doing, it's really hard to get to a quarterback. It's really, really difficult to hit one. Really, really good where they get out of a game. So as they get older and they understand how they are protected, I think they'll do a better job of protecting themselves. Now, as far as the physical part of it, Jacobian is young and he's going to get bigger and stronger, and he may look like one of those Avengers superheroes when it's all said and done. But if he walked down the street right now, you wouldn't see some guy that you'd want to kick sand in his face. Objects are larger than what they appear. You need to walk up on him one time. He's got good size. He's a big cat. He can take care of himself.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. That concludes today's press conference. Media, if you have not yet RSVP'd to tomorrow night's player interviews, please send that to me today. Thanks.
Have a good Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.